holiday essentials list. Here we go. Sun cream, check. Budgie smugglers, check. Beach towel, check. Reading material that I won't ever bother reading, but it'll take up more space in my bag than it needs to, check. Charger, check. 4 Calling Birds Summer Podcast, check. Roll the titles.
4 Calling Birds.
May I proudly introduce to you, for your listening pleasure, voiceover artist and lover of spreadsheets, Hayley Clapham.
I've got a very firm, heavy stand.
Our resident agony uncle and Great British Bake Off queen, Stephen Carter-Bailey.
Oh, I've done loads of willies. I've done more genitals than I have retirement cakes.
Singer and actress, Natalie Spence.
Did I ever tell you about the time when I accidentally flashed David Cameron?
PR guru and master of making a short story long, Meredith Hepner Chapman.
Basically, to cut a very long story short, my husband bought me a dildo.
And me, producer Jeremy, welcoming you to this bumper, fun-filled, jam-packed episode of Summer Goodness. The birds are going to be telling you about their favourite summer holiday memories, sharing their most embarrassing stories, and I pose them some would-you-rather questions as well. Kick back with a glass of something cold, put your feet up, lather over the Factor 50, and enjoy.
Welcome to the summer special of 4 Calling Birds podcast. How excited are you to be back, birds?
Woohoo! Yes, so excited.
This is so
I've
exciting.
shed my winter feathers, and I've got a glorious coat of tropical bird feathers. I'm peacocking around at the moment in.
Love that. We are back by popular demand.
I know, isn't that fantastic?
For one night only.
We were in the papers. We were in the papers.
For good reasons, not the last time I was in the papers.
No, we were reviewed in what were we reviewed in? The Express and the Mirror.
That's
Yes.
right.
So that was
Very
rather
exciting.
So
Very
yes,
good
we're back
review.
by popular
Very
demand.
exciting.
Very good reviews.
If I was going to say, should we just talk a little bit about the review? How glowing it was? What were we one to watch? One to listen to, obviously, not one to watch. But up there with a recommended listen list.
Yeah, didn't they say it was a unique format? I think they said it was a unique, refreshing format.
We are a bit refreshing, aren't we?
We are.
Very refreshing.
So, how are you all doing? How have you been since our final episode of season 1? Anything exciting going
Double
on?
jabbed. I'm double jabbed.
Oh yeah, me too. Who else
I've
is
got
double
one
jabbed?
No, I've got one to go.
Hayley, you've had 2, haven't you?
I've been double jabbed. Yeah, all good. I'm all 5G. Fully
We are
tested.
talking about we are talking about the COVID vaccination, by the way, just
Oh,
for anyone
no,
that's
shit.
been living
Oh,
under a
right.
rock.
Mez gets a hit from the public toilets here on the high street, around the back after midnight. It's been a glorious summer. It's been very unseasonably tropical, I'd say. That's why I am looking more like a parakeet and less like a robin at the moment.
Well, it's
gone
been
very
quite.
Florida.
It's been quite muggy. My neck of the woods, actually. It's
Yeah.
a bit. It's all a bit sweaty everywhere in your crevices without much sunshine. It's one of
Yeah.
those
That makes
days.
sense. No,
Makes
and
sense.
Natalie, you've done the big move to London, haven't you? How did that go?
I have, yeah. It went really well. I'm loving being in London. However, we got caught in the Hampstead floods the other
The
day.
famous
I saw that.
Hampstead floods.
It was
That's so middle class. It was awful. We were caught in the Hampstead floods.
darling, it was awful. We went.
Did
for
you
a
have your
swim.
Barbarellis? Sorry.
Hunter, darling?
Oh, Hunter. Sorry.
Oh, come on, Hampstead's not like that. Bit of love.
Didn't you have to climb through a window of a coffee shop?
Yeah, we did. So what happened was we went for a swim.
Oh, the peril.
We went for a swim at the Hampstead Ponds because I'm now a season season membership holder.
Lunatic.
So I go every week, and we went for a swim, and we thought, oh, just it'd be nice. Ryan had a big weekend on my brother's stag do, so we went for a nice, refreshing swim. It started to rain as we left the house, and then we thought, oh, this is nice, this is refreshing. By the time we got out of the ponds, it was torrential rain. I've never said that word like that before. It was torrential rain. It was so outrageous. So we put our towels over our heads, over our bags, and we ran to the nearest coffee shop. We hid in there for a good hour or so, and the water slowly crept in. It was probably about, I don't know, it was like 5 inches deep.
It was pretty gruesome. It was on your socials.
Inside the cafe,
I did
yeah.
feel so awful for those poor people
Yeah.
that owned that place after coming out of lockdown.
We went back a couple of days later and gave them a big box of chocolates. So they were very sweet to us. But yeah, I think they're all back up and running. Hopefully,
Give them a shout out. Who are they?
It was Emporia Cafe in Hampstead Heath.
Oh, there we go. Big love to you guys. Get some sandbags.
Yeah, I hope you've dried out.
Yeah. Any other exciting things happening to
Nothing
you guys?
other than the fact I seem to have emulated. Well, you said it's gone a bit muggy. It feels a bit Florida. And I thought we've been watching The Sopranos. Jeremy and I have been revisiting The Sopranos. It's my second time. It's his fourth or fifth. It's his absolute favourite thing. And there's a new season coming out, but about the early life of Tony Soprano, played by James Gandolfini's actual real life son, which is really quite moving if you consider James Gandolfini's very early death. And so I unconsciously or possibly consciously, I've started sort of with my leisure wear, been emulating a sort of mob wife, but actually thinking about it with the weather being a bit more Florida, I'm just like a bit like a sort of old aging New York golfer.
You're going to be like that. You're going to be like that old lady in what was that
Dogs
film?
in Prams?
No, that had the foil by her face. There's something about Mary.
Yeah,
You know that
me.
scene with that old lady that she's
Oh,
all
yeah.
orange. Yeah.
Yeah. Jewellery and
Anyone in
loungewear.
Florida, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Jewellery, loungewear and yapping dogs wherever I go. And it's sort of, that's what's happened to me in lockdown. And I don't really want to emerge from it. So I'm staying put.
I have to admit, lockdown lifting or
how
Day
you
of
feeling?
Freedom, as they've called it. I'm not. I don't really care because I have never had a problem with telling people to F off and get out of my face. And quite frankly, I'm happy to continue it. I will be wearing my mask just because I've
Yeah.
enjoyed 18 months of no cold or flu.
And you're a bit ugly.
And I'm ugly. And of course, it does help with getting recognised in the street.
Well, that's it. I wear mine for the opposite reason.
I'm not particularly pleased with the idea. I understand that there's a need for for us to get over it in so much as we don't really want to be doing this in the middle of winter, but at the same time I think please don't have a football match with 30,000 people and then say that we can't go to the theatre. It's very confusing. It's very, very confusing.
Yeah, but it does make you sick, doesn't it? Because I couldn't even go to my kids' sports day.
Yeah.
Oh.
Awful.
It's
It's,
just like
awful. And I
that.
think the fact that
Whatever.
Boris has, said trust the British public, and we all saw someone sticking a firework up his arse in Leicester Square last
I think we know we can't. Yeah, we can't trust the British public.
No.
They're the ones
Brexit.
that they stick flares up their anuses.
I would love to know what your favourite summer holiday memories are.
Okay, who's first?
I thought that'd be a fun little topic to chat about on this summer special.
Right, Hayley, you
Go
go.
on then, Hayley.
Okay, so I think I've got lots of fun summer memories. The ones that always make me really laugh are when I used to spend it with my cousin Matthew. He lives in Australia now, but at the time he lived in Weston-super-Mare. And we used to go down there, or he would come to Wales. And we just had that sort of relationship where we just used to laugh ourselves until we were almost sick. And we would laugh at anything, just anything, like the way the trees were blowing in the wind would just, Matthew would say something funny. And then we'd just be crying with laughter, constantly laughing all the time. And my granddad, my Bampy, used to get really, really annoyed because he couldn't understand why we were laughing so much. And we would stay in the spare room at my Nana Bampy's house, and we were in separate beds, but like giggling, just like dribbling and giggling and crying with laughter so much that my Bampy was like, "Suffering catfish, Marion, what is wrong with these kids?" And made Matthew go and sleep in the bed between him and my nan to stop us laughing, which of course made us laugh even more. And I could hear Matthew through the walls in my nan and Bamp, and just like that, with that thing where you just cannot stop laughing. I mean, that was us all summer. You know, one of us would trip over, drop our ice cream on the floor, the other one would really cry laughing. My nan bought us cheap flip-flops and we'd fall up the steps, and the other one would laugh. Once Matthew and I, we were laughing so much, we were playing tag or something, and he was hysterical laughing, trying to get away from me, ran up and burst through the wrong caravan door, fell into the front room. Obviously that I was crying. So it's those sort of memories where we're just crying with laughter for no reason.
But we're like that when Jeremy tells us to behave and all be quiet, and you've got to start recording because we've only got a limited time. We then all get like that. So I love it. I love that uncontrollable. And the more you're told off, and the more serious you've got to be,
the more you laugh.
Natalie, would you like to share
Meredith.
your favourites?
Meredith,
Meredith.
would you like to
Oh
share?
my God, it's like you don't exist, Meredith.
You wish.
Right, shall I try that again? Meredith, would you like to share your favourite summer holiday memories?
I would. Well, like Hayley, I haven't got one specific one. It is just a culmination of my sort of childhood pre my mum meeting my stepdad. So it was when my childhood was really brilliant. And we used to go to Portugal every summer to Praia de Luz, which is famous now for the wrong reasons, but it is. And I just want to give love to Praia de Luz because they just didn't deserve what happened there. And it's such a brilliant little place, and you must go. And actually our mutual friend Sam Harris has got a house out there, so I loved seeing all his recent holiday photos because it took me straight back to my childhood. But we used to go every summer to Praia de Luz with my mum's best friend Sue and her son Rufus. And Rufus and I are 3 weeks apart in age and knew each other from the age of 3. And it was love-hate, it was sibling, it was awful. It was, he hurt me a lot of the time. It was a lot of me grassing on him. So it wasn't as fun as you guys, Hayley, but there were times where we had just that belly laugh. And we used to go on these island hops, and Rufus and I would go off with the camcorder and find nudist beaches and zoom in on people's cocks and tits, so that when my mum was then playing back the cine film for everyone to see, it'd be like suddenly there'd be like 5 minutes of me and Rufus, the camcorder, one of those old 8mm, shaking, no sound, with Rufus sort of thumbing up and then someone's willy, and like women bending over naked. But there was one very, very poignant, memorable occasion where we all went on one of those boats that you go to the sort of, you go round and then you go into like a cave and you all get out and you have sardines and wine, and then you go back on the boat again and then you find another spot and you'll have a bit more wine, and the kids are just there. And my mum and Sue got more and more pissed as this went on, and we got back to Praia de Luz, to the beach, and my mum was like, "Let's all go to the beach bar," and she had on just bikini bottoms because it was the 80s and she was always topless, and a toweling strapless dress. And as she waded out of the sea, the dress just came away and she carried on walking. So I remember that really vividly, and Rufus being hysterical about that. But we then went to the beach bar, the dress went back on because obviously we had a beautiful meal and went home, and the next day we all went and got our ice creams, and the guy that owned the beach bar went, "Mrs. Phillips, you didn't pay for your bill last night." "What are you talking about? I wasn't here yesterday." And this went on for 10 minutes until I stepped in and went, "You were really drunk. It was, your dress even came off," like that. I mean, like now, and I just think, if that had been me, and Amelia had said to me, "We were in this bar last night, Mummy, you arrived topless." I think you sort of... But yeah, it was just a culmination of just really hysterical 80s memories of drunk single mums, divorcees, and me and Rufus just being allowed to be feral. I mean, just no parental guidance whatsoever. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Drifting out in a lilo.
Love that.
Yeah.
I really cannot unsee Vivian without her top
I
on.
know.
That's
You
really
can
bothering
imagine
me.
wading out of the sea, even though it was fairly shallow, but obviously the dress got wet and got heavier and heavier, and just suddenly as she sort of arrived on the shore, like a sort of reverse Ursula Ann dress, all sort of dressed round her ankles, tits out, with a bottle of wine in her hand. Oh, God,
That's
so
how we all want to
classy.
spend our summer holidays, isn't it?
It was so 80s though. It was all these divorced women. And their
What about you?
kids.
What about you, Natalie?
Oh, well, I was lucky enough to go to many different places in as a child. We're talking about as children, right? Not
Well, whatever.
Well, favourite summer memory
Yeah.
ever. Could be last
Well-
summer, lockdown.
no, definitely wasn't that. I had the most amazing time in the summer between my second and third year at drama school. My family and I went on a little mission trip to Uganda, and we saved up. Each of us saved up about $2,500 or something to put towards it, and we put on a musical soiree evening at home before we left. I got all of my friends involved, and we put on a concert for all the locals, and raised quite a bit of money, and went to Uganda. We went to a place called Kumi in Uganda, and just had the most amazing 2 weeks, getting to know the locals. We built the foundations to a new classroom block in the local school.
Oh wow.
And then the next team that were to go out there, spend the next 2 weeks, they'd build the rest of it. And we did lots of other things as well. One of my favourite memories of that whole trip was a select few of us. I think there was 5 of us got the opportunity to go and visit the local prison, and I think there was about 12 of us on the trip altogether. So 5 of us went to this to the prison. My dad, my sister, and 2 others from the trip, and myself went, and we each had to take something that we wanted to share with the prisoners. And by the way, this prison was like, it was such a nice vibe. I don't know if you can say that about a prison, but there was like they were all in all yellow uniforms, and roaming around outside. If they were allowed to, if they were good, they'd go and collect wood or whatever. I don't really know. And we all had to go in, and they sang this amazing song. Just the soul in their voices and in their musical instruments playing, and it was just incredible. And then I sang them a song. I sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow to them, and the applause when I finished, it was just like the biggest I've ever had. It was just stunning. My sister did a little reading from the Bible. I think my dad's actually a prison visitor, volunteer visitor at home, so he spoke about prisons in the UK, and it was just a wonderful time.
I wish Natalie had gone first, because she's got building classrooms in Africa, and I had pissed mum in the Algarve. I wish I'd rethought this. How amazing.
I've had plenty of pissed parent memories as well. I just chose not
That's
to.
just brilliant. So is the school now built? Is that was it a school that was building, or?
Yeah, that was about 8 or 9 years ago. So that's all built. We also went to a deaf school, and we washed their hair. We washed all the kids' hair, and we put on a little play of Little Red Riding Hood. It was terrible, but it was fantastic at the same time.
Would you go back, do you think, Natalie? Would you do that again?
I would love to. And we did actually promise a lot of them that we would go back. They were desperate to have us back, but if I got the opportunity, I'd go in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it sounds incredible. Such a brilliant, selfless, amazing thing to do, and something that has clearly stuck with you.
Yeah, and I went with my whole family, so my mum and dad and my sister and my brother and my sister's now fiance. So, and he didn't grow up a Christian or anything, but we all did. But he came along, and there were other non-Christians there, and it was a wonderful time.
It's just a really nice thing to do, whether you follow the Bible, believe in God, or whatever, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you can. A lot of the kids do it, sort of, don't they, for like their world challenge and stuff? Or is that just, I don't know, is that just our school? But, they go and raise money so they can go out to
Yeah, they do. Local secondary schools here. Yeah, they do that too. Yeah. What about you, Stephen? What's your summer holiday memory?
Well, my favourite summer holidays memories. I can't beat, being a good Christian and building schools, but I was a good Mormon. Well, I don't know. Actually, I was a terrible Mormon, but we did have to go to camp. Which now there are some horror stories I could share with you. No, I'm not. I'm not sharing the horror story. I'm sorry, but I'm going to share the happy holiday memories. There were some horror stories from camp. I wasn't a very good Mormon, but I did love going on church camp. Sometimes, most of the time. And I loved going camping with the school, and I loved going church camping. And we did used to do a lot of charitable things. So, Natalie, unfortunately you've topped it. We did do charitable work with the camp, but I do remember an age of innocence, I suppose. We certainly didn't have any electronics.
You've bailed on me after you heard Natalie's story. You've let me down. You absolute shit. He told me what story he was going to tell, and he hasn't fucking told it.
Oh, go on, Stephen, tell
No,
the
he
story.
won't. He won't. He's obviously thought about it. You don't need to name names.
Peter. So, right, okay, all right, fine. I'm going to share this story. I had to. I loved going to Mormon camp because we were being Mormon wasn't as a child was actually quite nice because we were innocent and it was just lots of friends. We were all very, very friendly. We were all cousins. There were thousands of children because you do nothing but have children, and so we all had a really good time. But there
Was it the Get Along gang?
yeah, pretty much. We all one big get along chat. But there was one boy called Peter. Peter came to every single camp. Peter couldn't make friends. Peter had some difficulties socialising. And Peter was a rather unpleasant young boy to hang around with. And I will always remember my mum forcing me to be Peter's friend. Because I was a nice boy, you see. I was very nice. And I was... All the children loved me because I was very friendly. And all the adults loved me because I was very helpful. And my mum thought, well... Stephen was really good at making friends with Peter and making him feel welcome. I think Peter's mum had a word with my mum and said, Stephen will be Peter's friend. Don't you worry, Jackie. I'm using a false name for Jackie, by the way. I can't remember her real name. But Peter had real problems integrating, and he didn't understand boundaries. And Peter's favourite game was, please look at my bumhole. And would show you his bumhole. Peter only ever did this when no one else could see. And I used to beg my mum every summer holidays, every church camp, I don't want to go because Peter will show me his bumhole.
Oh,
don't
no,
be
was
disgusting.
Was
Don't
it
be
a showing?
revolting.
Was it just a showing for one?
Yeah,
But what did Peter wear?
a suit.
What, like a shirt
Wait.
and tie?
How old
No,
is Peter?
A child. Peter was a child and used to wear a suit to church camp.
As was Stephen. Let's just make this very clear.
Yes, we were children, all right? So there's nothing litigious about it. There's no legalities. I'm not breaking any laws. It was just very uncomfortable, and I remember that ruining my childhood. I didn't want to go to church.
It's just the
camp.
conversation with your mum. I really don't want to go to Mormon camp because Peter shows
Shows
me
me his bum hole. Was it his bum hole or his bum cheeks?
Well,
or both?
he was both. He was desperate for me to
But
see more than anyone wanted to see. I don't, and just to preempt any potential question, I don't think it contributed to my current lifestyle. I really don't. I just had a very tainted view of Mormon camp after that. But aside from that, I'd had a lovely childhood. We used to go on lake holidays,
You did. You
seaside
did
holidays,
baking
yeah.
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You did. That's where you got all your summer holidays must have been actually rather sort of famous vibe with your mum and all the cooking and all the kids and everything. I bet it was lovely.
Yeah, we grew up near to Tring in the villages, and it was glorious. Like I said, we had no electronics. We were out from dawn till dusk. In fact, we were kicked out of the house. We weren't asked to. We wanted to stay and watch television, but we were kicked out of the house on our bikes, and we spent the summer very carefree and it was. I'm very glad that I got to do that. I do feel for my sister now because. Her children, you can't let children out now because they might get mugged for their iPhones or, we have to text me when you get there. That's a normal one. Whereas my mother didn't know whether her children were alive until 8 o'clock at night.
I mean, we are very lucky, and in fact, probably in the very careful sort of sleepy areas, I know I'm almost more cautious about, because if they misbehave, you then end up probably on the local, tring groups or what have you, about a group of teenagers. So I almost have the anxiety. I'm so glad my kids aren't in London because of exactly that. But at the same time, it's that worry. But look, do you know what? It's still live and kicking in parts of the country. Amelia's just moved out. My daughter Amelia has just moved house from her first student digs into a student house. She still hasn't been in her uni yet, but she's moved. And I mean, she has moved into a part of England which I think actually every privileged child should spend time in. Sorry. You don't need to go to Uganda actually to find children in this country that could do with, a lot of love and help. But saying that, these kids were so happy, and they were just in a big gang. But it wasn't a scary gang. I know that sounds awful, but no, they really weren't. It reminded me of the 80s.
Have you checked to see if you've got your debit card still?
No, there was something really...
You sound so middle class right now.
Do you know what? It was fucking lovely. It was really lovely. And it reminded me of growing up. And I was a latchkey kid. I know you're massively surprised by that. And it reminded me of growing up in London in the 80s. So there was that level of still being carefree that Stephen talks about and that we worry about now in actually quite safe areas. Whereas there are kids in cities who are still living a really kind of nice carefree life, but I didn't see a load of them sat in a middle class bistro while their parents had dinner all on iPads. I actually saw a community and kids having a brilliant time, whatever it was, throwing stones at birds or whatever. But it was just brilliant. It was lovely. Oh God, no, cut that if I sound like a wanker. But I'm trying to say it was really lovely. I felt so safe there. Drove into the street and it was like, oh my God, because there's some really poor areas of Liverpool that are just, my mind was blown as a very white privileged southerner. But it felt really safe and lovely and a really magical community, actually. So much so that my daughter Amelia tried to get into the wrong house. That was our foray into this road. And someone lives there, love. She's like, no, it's my new house. No, that's Sheila's. You must be next. And it was like, that's a terrible Scouse accent. But they're really lovely and they were chatting to us and it was so nice. And I actually think, oh, do you know what? Sometimes having too much takes away the organic side of being a child, and all these kids with all their gadgets. I don't think they're sometimes any more privileged than what those kids are getting out with forging friendships and
showing them each other their bum holes.
Oh, yes.
Hi there, it's producer Jeremy again here. Just checking you're enjoying this summer special episode of the Four Calling Birds podcast. You're just sitting there with a glass of something cold with your feet up and relaxing. How marvellous. Now, I'm going to be asking the Four Calling Birds some would you rather questions in just a couple of moments. But before I ask them a question, I want to ask you a question. And the question is, how many F's are there in the word quality? You're sitting there thinking, Jeremy, this is a trick question. There's no F in quality. Well, head on over to the Four Calling Birds store, where there's plenty of F in quality there. Just visit callingbirds.store and check out our great range of t-shirts, sweatshirts, kids' clothes and bags and stuff. We've got it all there just for you. Don't be a dick, head on over there right now. callingbirds.store. Now I've asked you your question, I'm going to ask now the birds their would you rather questions. Enjoy.
I'm going to go first. Are you ready? Now, thanks ever so much, Jez, for this one. Would you rather have sex with a hideously ugly person or a beautiful, fresh corpse? And I'm going to go for the innocent one here. Would you like to start us off, Natalie?
Shallow.
Definitely an alive person. No matter how ugly they are on the outside, they might be.
Yeah,
lovely.
I'm sorry, but I've seen Ryan. He's like God carved him just out of marble and gifted him to the world.
Being a good fucking Christian, that's what you get.
Yeah.
Beautiful man.
Gift, yeah.
He's sorry. Carry on, Natalie.
Steady on.
you want me to just give you his number, Stephen? You can
No, it's
chat
fine. I'm
later?
just going through his Instagram. I'm going through his Instagram.
No, don't you dare. Stephen's mine.
Okay. A hideously
Shallow how, Natalie, you were. But I think that's the point Natalie was trying to make, that they could be beautiful on the inside, so that's got to be better than a corpse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, me too. You can just close your eyes, can't you? A corpse.
Well, it's
I
not
felt
really.
like I felt like I've been having sex with a corpse with a live person before, so I think I'd probably just go. Yeah, no, I think.
And
I'd
I've
go
had
for
sex
that.
with really fucking hideous people, so it's not really a problem for me. I know.
And if you say that you haven't had sex with an ugly person, then you are the ugly person that someone's had sex with.
Yeah, I've had sex with ugly people,
Isn't that the truth?
We all have.
but they're
come on.
beautiful in their own way.
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah.
kind of like it. That's my kink. Something a bit off key.
I've had sex with other people that aren't beautiful either, so... Inside, I mean.
I've also had sex with a very beautiful person that didn't have a very pleasant personality, so that's no walk in the park either.
Jez, that's you, by the way.
Jez, yeah.
Thanks for outing me. Thanks so much. Small town
Right,
wine.
should we?
Would anyone
had sex with that
choose?
man.
Would anyone
Mary-
choose the corpse? Anyone? No.
I think
think-
Stephen would you, Stephen?
I mean, like I said, I've had intimate relations with somebody who may as well have been dead and smelt dead as well.
Oh!
So, yeah,
Nasty.
It's,
Same person,
yes,
or
yeah.
two different. One was lifeless.
No,
and one
it
smelled.
was actually it was a pity fuck as well. So I don't
On
wanna
their
go-
behalf.
probably.
Maybe they were on the cusp of death.
Yeah, maybe they were turning,
Yeah. Maybe
going
you just,
off.
They did
like an
turn,
old
they turned my
pint.
stomach. Yeah. But Meredith, would you like to grace us with your question?
Oh,
Thanks for that,
well,
Jez,
do you know
again.
what? Jeremy's. I always think there's a hidden agenda with these because we're married, and it's always like things he'll use against me in future arguments. So,
Would you rather clean the toilet or would you rather unload the dishwasher?
would you rather a bell rang every time you felt frisky, or you never felt frisky again?
Ding, 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 ding.
always.
It'd be really annoying in a podcast. What would you, Natalie? Would you like people to know you're horny or to never feel
yeah.
horny again?
Oh yeah, I feel like
Bells on.
I feel like guys kind of have that anyway. With like
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
ra-
but ours is more visual.
yeah.
Hayley?
I won't say the words.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind a bell going off. It probably
To
would,
remind
probably-
you.
Yeah, it wouldn't go off very often. Once every
In the
couple of
queue at
weeks.
Sainsbury's.
Like, I'd be like,
Tinnitus.
what's that noise? I'm sure I heard that noise last month and I didn't know what it was then.
During certain adverts. Worthers. Obviously I would rather have a bell, but because I'm Stephen, you probably get this because of our weirdness, our weird Gemini star signs, or maybe everyone gets this, but unless I'm thinking about it, or sort of, I don't just suddenly go, oh, I feel really frisky. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that for a woman, you don't just suddenly go,
No,
oh.
you don't.
I mean, you do to a degree,
Do you
but not
not? Do you
really.
not?
And I
Is
mean,
it-
it would probably go off if I was watching TV, which would then provoke a conflict. Who do you find attractive? There's 4 people on the TV. Who's who's? It could be really awkward when meeting family or like a christening or something.
Well,
Like
it's
the
awkward if it goes off around family because that's
Yeah.
disgusting.
yeah. But I still would rather. I'd make a joke out of it and go, "Sorry, me again, horny. Sorry." I'd just make it my thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't not feel alive down there and again because it's going to happen once menopause and all that, isn't it? So I might as well have a bell for now.
For the next 3 years.
Actually, would you like to read your question?
I feel that was harsh. Sorry, I was below the belt.
Ooh, she's the bitch has woken up.
Okay. Would you
Christians.
rather? I know those fucking Christians.
It's fucking Mormons you want to watch that for.
Bumhole showers.
Yeah.
I'll show you my bumhole if you like.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry, did Jez
get
just
that.
pass out?
No, that was the bell.
I'll
Oh,
show
it's
the
his
bell.
Sounds like Big Ben.
That was a firm hit.
His nuts hitting the floor.
Right. On with the show.
Straight off topic,
Oh,
Natalie.
God.
Okay, would you rather have to say all of your sentences backwards or have to only communicate through charades for a week? Is it charades or charades?
Depends on which part of London you live in.
Charades.
Or north.
Charades. So week of 4 charades through communicate only to have.
Oh.
Oh.
Or
Pigeon
backward
English.
sentence you're of all say to have rather would.
Is the word backwards or the sentence back? Like, do you have to
Well, I don't
phonetically
know.
work out what
That's
the word
too
is
much, isn't
backwards
it?
as well, though? That's the thing. I couldn't.
I don't think you'd have to figure it out. I think it would just naturally happen.
I think I would just have to do charades.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to go for charades, actually.
I'm
The
quite
talking backwards would just annoy me
yeah.
too much. I mean, not that
Yeah.
the charades wouldn't, but yeah.
and
I
no
quite
one
like
else would
charades.
understand you.
Can
Well,
I
no one
text
understands me when I do
people?
charades anyway.
Yeah.
No, you have
understands when I
to,
speak.
if you text people emojis, maybe.
Voice
Yeah,
memos
emoji.
would be annoying, but I mean, my kids don't listen to me anyway, so yeah, charades.
Yeah.
I'll just sort of switch off for a week, I think. Is it just a
Yeah.
week?
That'd be quite nice, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for a week. Yeah.
Well, we did do a lockdown for 6 months, so I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I think charades would be fine.
Yeah.
I'm quite an expressive person anyway, so I think charades would be quite would suit me.
You're theatrical, so I think you'd be quite good.
Theatrical,
Whereas
yeah, exactly.
I'm just camp, so everything would look like Brokeback Mountain.
Jazz
Brokeback Mountain.
But I'm also terrible at explaining things. So when, like, even if someone asks me directions, they'll walk away more confused than they came to me. So, yeah, I probably wouldn't be able to communicate with anyone.
My daughter said that to me yesterday. I had to give someone directions, and she said, "You've just made that more confusing for that person." Like, she's just, and I do. Like Jeremy is the sort of archetypal brilliant person and methodically explains things, and it's great because I can just go. My mum's got IT issues because we'd end up just screaming. I can't. I think teachers. Hats off to teachers. So you're quite good at that, Stephen.
What's that?
You teach. Hayley, you're very good at, teaching and taking control as well.
I'm good at teaching people who are
Expressive.
willing to listen. That wasn't an attack at anybody, by the way. That was just like, I'm good at teaching cake decorating because people pay me to teach them. Whereas if it was a class at a school, well, I wouldn't last a lesson. I'd have my teaching license removed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same
we
here.
can do it.
I'm not very good if people aren't listening to me or acknowledging things. It makes me very cross. I would
But
be a
you're quite
rubbish teacher.
patient, aren't you? You're quite patient, I would
Well,
say.
we're still friends with you.
Yeah, I mean, outside maybe, but inside I'm raging.
Oh, that's
Is your inner eternal bell ringing?
Yes, madly.
Hayley, would you like to grace us with your question?
Right, okay, so mine is, would you rather vomit uncontrollably for 1 minute every time you hear Happy Birthday being sung, or get a headache that lasts for the rest of the day every time you see a bird? Can include pictures or videos of birds. Well,
But I see birds every single day.
yeah. You'd have a
Yeah.
headache.
I mean, I've constantly got a bit of a low-level headache anyway, so that's normal.
So if you opt for the vomiting, do your headaches go away for other things as well? You need to be specific about these things, Jeremy, because I have a headache a lot of the time. So seeing a
Yeah.
bird is not going to make much of a difference to my day.
But also, if you take
You guys need to drink more water.
cocodamol, I just think it's my children, actually, Natalie. No amount of water is going to
Fair-
get rid of
fair
those
enough.
headaches.
She should drown
Cocodamol, does that
herself.
get rid of my headaches? Yeah. Or happy
how do you
birthday.
feel
Well,
about
if I only hear happy
vomiting?
birthday on my birthday, I don't mind vomiting just for that.
You'll hear it more though. There's other birthdays.
It's quite a good.
You know what?
party
I'm going to go.
piece.
I'm going to go for the headache because that is sort of like an existing state anyway.
All right, okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Ooh.
So I think I would go for the vomiting because you'd only really hear Happy Birthday at a birthday party, and at parties I always get drunk and vomit. So it's a given.
Oh,
if I know I'm
standard.
going to be sick when I hear Happy Birthday, I'd just be like, light the candles and pass the bucket.
Yeah, and I guess it's only for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll
Are
do that
you
as well
allowed
then.
to tell people I am going to be sick when you
No.
sing
No,
Happy
I think it
Birthday?
should be a surprise.
There's no caveat here that says that you can't tell people. So
Because then I'd just
Well,
say,
I think-
guys, would you mind waiting till I'm out the room while you sing Happy Birthday? I would just
Oh no,
try
I'd
and
wait until
swerve
till my
it.
birthday and I'd be sitting there smirking, going, "Come on, there's a cake."
why? What if you
Quite a
wore?
party piece, isn't it?
What if
I
you
love
wore
that
headphones? What if you wore sound cancelling headphones
Yeah.
and then you wouldn't hear
Yeah.
the happy birthday
yeah.
and you could and then you'd be
So
fine.
many loopholes.
that just-
Oh, that's what I'm going to wear sound cancelling headphones.
So are you swapping your headache
Yeah.
now?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
swapping my headache for.
Yeah, but then you don't. That's not.
Then you can't hear your kids.
question.
Win-win.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Do you even
only
like
got-
your
it's
children?
only taken me 11
Hayley?
years.
That could explain the low-level headache.
Yeah,
Do you see that?
exactly.
She laughed though. She didn't deny that one. Yes. Anyway, next question.
Your other would you rather, Stephen? I had a choice of would you rathers. Shall I tell you what the other one's going to be? Would you rather sit on a dick and eat cake, or sit on a cake and eat dick?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Is that not a roundabout way of asking if you're a top or a bottom?
I love if you said yes. I just love that you said yes.
Sorry, slip of the tongue.
Yes, either or.
Yeah. Would you rather both? Please, both.
Can we tell the listeners about cake or cock?
I was going to cut that.
We talk about women getting drunk.
I was going to cut. I wasn't even going to ask the question. Sitting on a dick and eating cake. It doesn't seem
I
responsible.
will briefly explain. I will briefly explain what cake or cock is. It's rather self-explanatory. It's included in the title. I, as you know, I have a rather large following on Instagram, which I'm very.
I didn't
proud
know what
of.
you were going to say. then.
Rather large.
rather substantial following
Penis.
on Instagram. Yes, and I'm very proud of it, and I nurture it, and I talk to my followers, and I engage with them. Some of them, however, see this as an open invitation to send me pictures. Now, on Instagram, if you're not friends with somebody on Instagram, you are a message request, and if they send you a picture, it is blurred or it is not available unless you click on it. And my friends and I came up with a game. Now, there are two types of people on my Instagram. One who send me pictures of their cakes, which they're very proud of, and they want to show me their pictures of their cakes. And there are others who show me pictures of their cocks. They're very proud of them, and they want to show me their pictures of their cocks. And we play a game. Now, to play the game, you have to go into the message. I don't think I've got one. Have I got one? No, I
What do you
haven't.
mean you don't? They're every 10 minutes.
Oh no, I delete them. I can't have that content on my phone. So so we go into the message and say, right, okay, we've had a message from this handle, and then what you have to do is open that person's account, go into their profile, and just go through their pictures, assuming that you can see it. Go through their pictures and just sort of profile them, and just see if they would be the type of person. Send me a picture of their cake or their cock, and you play. Is it cake or cock? And then you open
I've
the
never
picture.
been wrong.
No, then you open the picture and it's like, and it's a cock. And then
You know,
one-
you are going to get so many more cock
Yeah.
pictures after this goes out.
Well,
Bring 'em on.
Cockfest, massive cockfest
I,
on Stephen's Instagram.
just for the record, my dearest loving boyfriend, I do not acknowledge, and I do not reply. But,
No, he really
I-
doesn't. I can vouch for that because the
Yes, I
entire
do.
he never lets me hold his phone when he shows
No.
me because I click accept. So
I'm
I'm not allowed near it.
There was one occasion where my friend and I had, she had said, no, it's a cake. And I said, no, it's a cock. It was, in fact, a picture of a cake on a cock.
Oh,
So we both got a point.
Oh.
Very good.
Very
Or a picture
clever.
of
Intriguing.
a cake that's shaped like a cock.
Yeah,
Oh,
or a
there's
cock on
oh,
a cake.
see, I've not had one of those yet.
No.
So
Okay, listeners, off you go.
On your marks. And I mean, you know, if you want to send them to the Four Calling Birds podcast, you know, we'll be judges there as well.
Oh, yeah.
We'll send them on
No,
to
please
Steve.
don't.
The definition of
Please don't.
thirsty today goes.
No, we're
to
not very good at baking. I couldn't really give an opinion on a cake. Could probably give you a fair to middling review of a cock, but not a cake.
Right, Meredith. embarrassing stories. I know it, but I love hearing it time and time again. Please do.
I got told it. It's become a bit of an urban legend. And I was in a pub one evening and got told the story about this friend of a friend of this person they'd heard this has happened to them. And I had to say, that was me. I could go into a big convoluted lie about why I had it in the first place. But basically, to cut a very long story short, my husband bought me a dildo, a big, veiny, latex dildo that arrived. And as we opened the packaging, it was so smelly. It was, to be fair, I think it was a free gift with probably another dildo or something. But anyway, it was absolutely revolting and it stunk. And we obviously looked at it with complete horror. Well, I did, looked at it in complete horror. And it became a running gag that it never got used, I promise you. It never got used. And Jeremy would sort of hide it around the house. So I'd go and open a cupboard and it would fall out on my head. Or friends would come round and I'd get phone calls from friends going, Jeremy's put the fucking dildo in my handbag. And literally it became, I would then find it and have to top trump him. So he'd go to bed and it'd be in his pillow, or he'd go to the gym or a lad's holiday and it'd be in the suitcase. So it was really, really funny. Anyway, we moved to Tring and I decided that I want to join a hot yoga class. And it was like hot yoga. I Googled it and it was in a village hall on a Wednesday morning in a church. And off I went and I was asked to introduce myself and had my yoga mat under my arm and my phone was beeping and it was like, it's really embarrassing. And I was like, oh, it's obviously Jeremy. And I could see his name. I was like, oh, and they were like, put your stuff over there. Come and join us, newbie. How's about you stand in the middle, teacher's pet. And it was like, no. And I stood there. My phone was beeping. I went and put my phone on silent and my yoga mat under my arm. And she said, introduce yourself to the class. So I gave a big spiel about who I was and how fabulous and sophisticated I was. And I shook my yoga mat out and I don't know whether I heard it first, saw it first, or just sort of felt it first, the sort of physical recoil of horror as this dildo, as I shook out my yoga mat, it bounced onto the floor. It then hit the velvet curtain of the village hall with such a thud that it made dust come out of the curtain because it was such a big dildo, and then landed like a sort of synchronized swimmer or something, or a red arrow at the instructor's feet. And I knew straight at that moment why my phone had been beeping. It would have been Jeremy going, check your yoga mat, because obviously he would have hoped it had fallen out probably on the way to the car or maybe in the car, but latex sticks to fucking yoga mats. And I had this sort of mortifying out-of-body experience and I thought, I've got to style this out. And I just picked it up, pretended it was a water bottle, took a sip and put it in my bag. And no, I fucking did. And I went over to my bag to put it in and I saw all these messages from Jeremy and I just replied, you Jeremy Hunt. And I don't remember that hour. It was mortifying because it was that whole no one said anything, which kind of was worse. So it was like... new class, I just picked up.
Do you think they didn't say anything because it was a dildo, because they looked at you and thought, oh, bless her, she thinks it's a water bottle?
Yeah.
All of do you know what? For the last 6 years, all these questions have run through my mind. Did they think I was some kind of sex thing, that I brought a dildo to yoga? That was the worst. It was like, why have you even got a dildo in your yoga mat? It's just, it's actually making me hot and panic thinking about it. But it was awful. But I did blog about it, but when people read it, and now people tell it as a story. And yeah, like I said, I was in a pub one night and someone told me the yoga mat story. So it is a slightly legendary, but I was the girl with the dildo in her yoga mat. And to this day, I now don't know where that dildo is. So it's going to surprise me.
It's in a dusty curtain somewhere.
It's in a yoga studio in a church.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. That was longer than 90 seconds, but there was a lot of detail to that. I couldn't just say
I wanted it first because I think we're going to have to aspire to be like that. So I'm going to go to you, Hayley. Can you please embarrass us?
Well, my life is basically a catalogue of embarrassing stories, actually. But God, there was one of many. So in my past life, I used to be a photo shoot producer for a particular part of time for male models, men's photo shoots. So I used to work with a lot of beautiful men. And I was on a shoot on the South Italian coast, and we were doing a photo shoot, and there was this one model that we were working with, and he was gorgeous. I worked with him a lot. He was really lovely. And the stylist was my friend Lee, and he would always talk about how beautiful this model was. And we were going down for dinner one night, and I had to quickly change my rooms because I was in this really rubbish room, and then this better room came, and they said, all right, Hayley, you go up to the better room. So I literally just pulled all my stuff off the bed and off the drawers and shoveled it into my bag, and I ran upstairs and I quickly got dressed for dinner, and I thought, oh, it's a bit chilly tonight, it's a bit breezy. I'll just grab that wrap that I've got, grabbed my wrap, wrapped it around my shoulders, came downstairs, and this beautiful male model was sat around the dinner. He was the first one there, along with Lee, my friend, stylist. And I, had a joke, and I went and sat next to the model, and I was looking at Lee, like, flicking the V's as if to say, well, I've sat next to him and you're not. Chatting away. And then Lee is crying with laughter, and I couldn't work out why he was laughing. It's like, what's he fucking laughing at? And this model he's so lovely, he was so polite, and he was like, you've got something on your shoulder. And I looked at my shoulder, and I had a pair of my pants on my shoulder that had got caught up in my wrap as I was like pulling it out of my bag. And it was just this tiny pair of pink pants that was just resting.
Were they tiny and sexy?
They were tiny and sexy. Yeah, tiny and sexy. Little pants. And I was so mortified. God. They were unused. They were clean, I would like to say.
Oh, good.
And I went, what are they doing there? Rolled them up in a
I love the
and
warble in your voice. What are they doing there?
So embarrassed.
There was a dad
and Lee was just rolling about, just like, that was just the funniest. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There was a dad at the school whose yesterday's pants fell out of his trouser leg one morning. So he'd obviously taken off his jeans the night before, left his old pants sort of near his trousers, got up the next day, put his trousers on with a new pair of pants, arrived at the playground, and yesterday's pants fell out of his trouser leg. But that, I think you topped that, sitting next to a model with your thong
A male
on your
model.
shoulder.
I know. And and I'd sort of elbowed Lee out the way so I could sit next to the model just to annoy him and, piss him off and wind him up. It was a little bit of a joke that we had, and the whole time I had a pair of my pants on his shoulder.
Oh, it's brilliant. Were they on his face side?
Yeah, they were very close to his face, yeah.
At least they weren't granny pants.
No.
Like
I don't know. I think I would have preferred... I mean, it was even more mortifying that they were sort of half decent. I don't know. It was just mortifying.
All right, so we've had a dildo, we've had some flyaway panties. Natalie, can you top this?
Well, probably not. It might be short and sweet, this one. Did I ever tell you about the time when I accidentally flashed David Cameron?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Is it Malaysia?
In Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
Well, I'll tell it again
tell
for the
it.
listeners. So I was working as a singer in a jazz bar in a very posh hotel in Hong Kong for a few years ago, and as I was sitting up there doing my thing, having a little sing, my friend comes into the bar and sits at the very back, and then I notice her sort of making a funny face to the seat next to her, which I couldn't see because there was like a barricade in the way or something between the piano and the stage and the back of the bar. Anyway, she texts me saying, "Look who's sitting next to me." I couldn't see, but I went over during my break and sat opposite her, and it was only David Cameron, and so she was like, try and get a sneaky photo,
Stealth.
Yeah. And so I try and get a sneaky photo. I'm not that interested in getting a photo with David Cameron, but it's a story, isn't it? So I got my camera out, and I never have my camera on flash. But this one time, it happened to be on flash mode, maybe because it was in a dark bar. But I was still talking to my friend as I was taking this photo, just trying to make it really, really subtle. And the flash goes off all of a sudden. He looks over, like, what the fuck? I'm mortified. So pull my camera down to my leg, get a lovely photo of my hairy leg.
Oh, I'm glad you finished that on leg.
Yeah.
Prefer that to Cameron.
And yeah, I was so embarrassed.
Oh, don't worry, he's done far more embarrassing things.
Yeah, completely. But yeah, so I accidentally flashed him. Not in the way that you were thinking, perhaps at the start, but yeah.
Well,
Almost more embarrassing to actually illuminate the Prime Minister's face.
Oh, yeah,
rather
I'd
than a
rather have
public
shown him
area,
the tits,
private
to be
area.
honest.
I'm going to take Natalie's lovely story and just shit all over it. No, I'm joking. I'm not going to, but I'm literally going to shit myself. My story is very short and sweet. I had gone to Mexico many years ago on a holiday.
I'm going to mute because I won't be able to get through this.
I went to Mexico on a holiday, and we'd taken we were staying at a hotel in Mexico, and halfway through we travelled back up to Miami and flown to St. Martin in the Caribbean to watch the planes landing over the beach. It's a very famous island. You can Google it. Anyway, on returning to Mexico, I discovered, I've got a bit of a jippy tummy. I don't feel very well. 24 hours later, 24 hours later, I am so ill. I've never been more scared in my life. I was so ill. I thought, I don't want to be here. I want to be dead. I want to die. This is. I was vomiting and the other thing, and it got to the point about one morning. I must have woken up about 4 o'clock in the morning, forgetting that I was that ill. And like a lot of people do, we've all done it, and I still do it every morning without fail, is I went to pass what I thought was a fart. And it was not a fart. Anyway, long story short, I messed myself. Oh, it wasn't a shart. I literally just shamed myself. And so I had to get rid of the offending articles, the underwear in question. I was horrified. What I didn't want to do was just put it in the bin because I thought it would smell. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll wait until the maid comes to clean the rooms with a little trolley. And so I bagged up these offending underwear, and I put my head out the door, and I noticed that the maid was in the room adjacent to mine, and I ran to the cart, and as I approached it, she came out of the room. I panicked and threw the underwear in the little bin section of her cart. And as I turned around to walk back to my room, it was then that I clocked what my eyes had seen as I had done that. And I had not put the offending, dirty, shitty pants in the bin, but had in fact put them in the clean linen bin of her cart. Needless to say, I did not leave the room for the rest of the holiday.
Well, I was going to say, all you needed then was the door to close, and you'd be locked in the hallway.
Yeah, and I had, basically,
Was it the sheets as well? The whole thing, the sheets, the pants. You just
I was very contained. I had kept it inside the underwear. But it was just the way that I didn't clock what I'd done until I was halfway back to the room and thought, oh dear God, not only have I done that, but it's almost like fuck you, maid, and fuck everybody else's bedsheet. So there we go.
Here's my shitty pants. Take that.
Here's my shitty pants. I hate you.
I know somebody.
Sorry,
I know somebody
Natalie?
that happened to. Sorry.
No, go for it, Hayley. Go for it.
I was going to say I know somebody that happened to them on their first date.
Oh no.
That's, okay, yeah, I wasn't that bad.
We had a mutual friend, Hayley, that I won't say her name, God love her, but we had a mutual friend who that happened to on our first date. It was a combination of taking a Rett because they thought they had a bad stomach, then Imodium, then a Rett, then just basically exploded.
I think it must have happened to everyone at some point.
I was going to say I've never shat myself, but my husband's connected, and he will then obviously question that, argue that. No, I had Botox up my bum and shat myself.
No, what you have to do is
she didn't have Botox up her bum because of me. Okay, the amount of looks I got around Tesco when Meredith said she was going. Meredith's very open about the surgery. She says, "Oh yeah, I'm just having a bit of bum surgery." And the looks I'd get from these women looking at me going, "You dirty bastards!" And it's like, no, it's not me, thank you.
I had a very small tear in my bottom from childbirth, may I point out. That's all I'm from my
Did you shit him out?
No, but it's all the same. I had really bad piles basically during my first pregnancy. Fuck it, I'm going to talk about it. It's a podcast, and if I can help one person think, oh, I'm not alone. Honestly, I had the most horrendous piles during my pregnancy and afterwards.
Me too.
And my bottom was in such a state, and
I had a grocers hanging out of my arse after I gave birth to Natalie. Oh, not Natalie. I didn't give birth to you. Nancy.
Natalie.
Mom, is that you?
Not wanting to leave everyone hanging, pardon the pun. I went to a doctor, and I just basically needed to have a few. After having children, everything like that, sort of in my later years, I'm still having a few problems. I went private, and I just had sort of everything checked into, and they basically said, all I've really got is a very, very small little thing called a fissure or a fissure, F-I-S-S-U-R.
Physio.
And the problem why it was tiny, but it would never heal because, Stephen will know this, your bum hole is a muscle.
Not even going to answer that one.
So it contracts, and a muscle, when in pain, contracts constantly. So if you've got a tiny cut in your muscle will spasm. And obviously, if you can have all your piles fixed with creams or what have you, but the way they treat fissules is to inject a small bit of Botox into your bottom so that it just stops the spasming for a couple of days, allowing this anal fissure to heal.
Have you got a very youthful anus?
My arsehole is
Meredith?
21 years old. It was honestly
Amazing.
But yeah,
It would be ID'd.
It would be 100% ID'd. But yes, I was advised, take laxative, blah, 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 blah. Don't go anywhere. Just sort of don't push out any bowel movements because you don't want to damage yourself because you can't really feel what's going on. But just remember, you won't have that much control. And I stupidly, like Stephen, and I'm not a farter, but obviously I was taking laxatives. I'm really not a farter. Honestly, I'm really not. I hate it. I really hate it. Don't make me smell that. I hate them.
You know, it's
I
good
never
for
come
you.
to my house.
It's so
good
good for you. And apparently there's something to do with smelling your own farts is really healthy as well.
It's anti-cancerous.
What?
What?
Smelling
I'll
your
be
own
fine
farts,
then.
yeah. It's
Right,
really...
that's it. I am now.
Get the prunes
Dutch
in, Mez.
ovening. Dutch ovening, yeah.
Get the prunes in.
Yeah. So basically, laxative, no self-control of my bumhole. At the bottom of the stairs, thought, oh, I think I need to go to the loo. Went up the stairs, and obviously a slight fart came out, and I literally pooed so hard my trousers fell down. I heard I was in leisure wear because I'd had surgery, obviously. And I heard Jez.
Yeah, why are you still in leisure wear now, Mez?
Because I'm Carmela Soprano.
Because she's still pooing really hard.
Yeah. So Jez, I am actually having a touch-up work in September, but more Botox. But Jez came in the room and sort of went, "You're right." I went, "No, don't look at me." And he
Was it like the scene out of Bridesmaids?
Don't look at me
When she's shitting in the sink. Yeah.
So you see, I've seen that scene, and it was like
You've
the scene
lived
where
that
she's
scene.
over the manhole. That was that scene.
Yeah.
And then to try and get upstairs with a jogger full of fecal matter
With a massive cigar in your pants.
Yeah. So yeah, I have shat myself, but it was post surgery. So I was never a wetter I was a bedwetter, funnily enough, but I never wet myself. I still to this day, other than when Hayley and I played Knockdown Ginger when we were too old to know better. And I laughed so much I wet myself. But I had just had a baby, which sounds terrible that we were playing Knockdown Ginger.
I know, we were grown-ups. I do still do a little wee in my pants if I laugh a lot. Or
Do you? I've never done it. Never done
I do,
one.
if I've left it too long. Also, as soon as I put the key in the door, it's like, I'm going to wet myself,
Oh, really?
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Me too.
Why?
Every
I'm
time.
absolutely fine. But as soon as I put the key
You've
in the
not
door,
got a
it's
Vivian
like,
as a mother. We're not stopping at this service station. You can go another 25 miles. There's one on the M4. That was my childhood. Bladder control. No, I'm all right there. But yeah, I have shat in front of my husband on my staircase. So, but no, I've never.
Naughty little German girl.
They call it brown love.
But, I love the fact that we are talking about this. And I should just say we obviously have lots of female listeners. And, it's brilliant now that they've basically said period pants can work for sneezy wees as well. So it's like we've suddenly got these sort of brilliant pants. that we
Absolutely.
can
My
wear.
mum's
I've
best
been loving
friend has just bought some for herself for when she
Yeah.
has, a sneeze or a
sneeze.
cough and she has a little wee. Yeah.
Yeah, I use them for periods now, and they are
Well, I
brilliant,
use
and
them
they
for
are
periods as
so
well, but yeah.
liberating. So liberating, but you can use them post-menopause for sneezy wees as well, and it just kind of takes that whole stigma out of anything like that. I love period pants. I think they're such a brilliant idea for the environment as well, and really fun ones, and it's really normal now to talk about it. So yeah, brilliant, refreshing. That's the word that was used to describe us, like period pants.
Refreshing.
I don't know whether I call
Actually,
period
no,
pants
I just
refreshing.
suddenly thought that's the worst one.
Quite heavy and sweaty, I'd probably, by the end of the day. Need a good wash.
Not dissimilar to my joggers when I shat myself on the stairs. As you get all these cakes and cocks, could you give a plea to our listeners, please, to send us in? Don't let us be embarrassed with our shame. We've overshared. So come on, Stephen, do your plea for their stories.
I would on the promise that we will keep your identity a secret upon request.
Yeah.
I beg you to please release your inner turmoil and share your shame, because quite frankly, after today, we have none of it. Clearly,
And if
Well,
I
a shame shared is a shame
doubled.
doubled. Halved.
don't they
What's
talk
the
about
saying?
things like this on
Ready
Loose
to be used
Women,
against
though?
you?
Not anal fissures or sitting on dick. They tend to keep that to the green room.
A shame shared is a shame read out on a podcast.
I also don't think
Yeah,
that
that's the
very
phrase.
quickly before we go, we all had to answer each other. No one else said whether they'd rather sit on dick and eat cake or sit on cake and eat dick.
Oh, can I just have
Natalie, go for it.
Sit on dick and eat cake.
Yeah.
Good girl.
Yeah, me
Mez,
too.
don't sit on a dick because you'll shit on it by the sounds of it.
Sit and dick. No, I get terrible lockjaw, so I'd rather eat cake and just sit on the dick.
Yeah, all right, good girl.
Yeah.
Mez, Hayley?
do I have to have the dick in it? Can I just have the cake?
You can sit on the cake and eat the cake if you want.
Can I
A
do that?
dick-shaped cake.
Oh, I didn't realise
Addiction,
that
yes.
was an option.
too
I'll just
slow.
take
Oh, if it
it.
was, I'm going to double up with the dick then.
I'm doubling up with
completely
cake.
tolerant.
You
Right,
have my
just the
dick.
cake.
I'll have your cake.
Oh, okay. I'm left with an extra dick, but that's fine.
I was just going to say to our listeners, just to remind them to be responsible with both dicks and cakes as well. Just,
Yes.
Yeah.
Eat,
and
be
Mormon
eat and
Cam.
sit on both responsibly.
Yeah. And don't be
Absolutely.
ashamed to go to see your doctor if you think you've got a
Fisher.
fish up
Or-
your
Cake or
arse.
dick obsession.
Scar on your
Or-
pants.
Or buy pants. Yeah. Cake or cock.
A farewell for now. We will be back in the autumn with our second season of the Four Calling Birds podcast, which is going to be even better than the first one. And we promise we won't talk, or maybe we will actually, about anuses and bumholes. Anyway, don't forget that you can keep in touch with us on social media via Instagram and Facebook. Until then, bye.
Goodbye.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much for listening to this summer special edition of the Four Calling Birds podcast. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. You can find all our social media handles in the show notes. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss another episode again. Now, did you notice that farewell at the end was a little shorter than normal? And there seemed to be some giggling and guffawing going on in the background. That's for good reason. I think it took us about 6 attempts to do it. Like naughty children sometimes they are. Here's proof.
So thank you for joining us for our summer special, end of season 1. And we've got season 2 coming up as well after the summer. So look out for that one. But thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next time. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation about cake, dick, anuses.
Shit.
Christians. And Christianity.
Called for Meredith.
But you added it in straight after the anus.
I'm laughing so much. I'm so sorry. Got really out of control.
Okay. Shall I say it again?
Yes, please. I'm so sorry.
Right, mute yourself and get a grip.
I'm fine.
Thank you all for joining us for our Fall Calling Bird Summer Special as a roundup to Season 1 and a little taster for Season 2. Season 2. We've shared our summer holiday memories and various other things that I wish I didn't know about these people. Oh, God, I can't say it.
No one's going to tune in. No one's going to be here in September to hear us.
I can
Enjoy
hear
the
Hayley's
glory
voice.
while it lasts.
It's starting to go. Just like,
Oh, my God. It's just... It's literally been a bum fest. This one.
And a dick fest.
I'm
a
so
dick
sweaty.
I'm
I'm so sweaty.
Oh, I've actually seen that Jeremy's written a close. Right, okay.
yeah, don't read the bit of insert date here. Don't read that bit. It's okay.
Oh, God, I'm glad you pointed that out. Okay, let's try again. I'm so sweaty.
Okay. Oh, so funny.
Okay, so it's a farewell for now. We will be back in the autumn.
Insert it here.
Okay. Oh, right. Meredith, mute. Right, you're putting me off.